Welcome back, Genesis International College students. Let's jump right in, shall we? Today, we've got a highly focused explainer covering Unit CPCCOM1105, Carry Out Measurements and Calculations. Specifically, we're zoning in on Topic 1, Obtaining Measurements. Now, whether you're fresh to the training or you're just looking to sharpen up those on-site skills, this explainer is basically your blueprint. We're going to break down the exact techniques, the tools, and those essential trade secrets you need to master measurements on the job site, all pulled directly from your student guide.
Here's our agenda for today. 1. The stakes of accuracy. 2. Mastering linear basics. 3. Selecting the right tool. 4. Digital measuring and calculating. And finally, 5. Tricks of the trades.
All right, let's kick things off with Section 1, the stakes of accuracy.
You know, a single, simple measurement literally ripples through an entire project. It's like a domino effect. So much of what you'll do throughout your career relies completely on your ability to measure accurately. I mean, think about it. Bad measurements absolutely kill your efficiency. They ruin the detail in your finishes, and they lead to incredibly costly waste when you're ordering materials. Let's be real. Accuracy is the line between a profitable professional job and, well, an expensive mess.
Moving right along to Section 2, Mastering Linear Basics.
So, what exactly is a linear measurement anyway? Well, by definition, it's simply the distance in a straight line between 2 points. Really, it's the absolute core of sizing up any job. Out in the real world of construction, those straight lines represent length, width, height, and depth. If you just picture a simple three-dimensional block in your head, capturing accurate linear measurements is what lets us understand the true physical space it takes up. Honestly, if you can map out length, width, and height, you've pretty much conquered the basics.
Now here is an absolutely crucial point, knowing exactly which units we use to record those dimensions. Here in Australia, the construction industry strictly uses the metric system, period. Now, yeah, you're definitely going to hear some of the older tradies throwing around imperial measurements on site. Feet and inches pop up in conversation all the time for sure, but you need to make it a rock-solid habit right now. You must always calculate, measure, and order using millimeters, centimeters, and meters. Knowing how to accurately convert units, like knowing right off the top of your head that 2,750 millimeters is exactly 2.75 meters, that's a non-negotiable skill.
Okay, on to Section 3, Selecting the Right Tool. We're going to start with the undisputed king of the tool belt, the retractable tape measure. These guys are your absolute go-to for short to medium distances, specifically anything under 10 meters. They're quick, they're super portable, and they're built to handle the vast majority of your daily layout tasks.
But you can't just unspool a tape and hope for the best. Whether you're using a standard retractable tape or one of those much longer wind-up tape measures, there's a critical checklist you have to run through every single time. First, check if the tape is actually suitable for the distance. Please don't stretch a short tape beyond its limits. You really have to understand its limitations. Plus, always use your required PPE. And definitely check for serviceability. I mean, if the numbers are rubbed off or the tape is all kinked up, your measurements are going to be total garbage. And finally, follow correct use techniques and observe all WHS precautions. It's just basic site survival.
Next up in our virtual toolbox, we've got folding or steel rulers. Now, these are your best bet for measuring and marking out highly precise straight lines. And here's a great technique straight from the source. When you're taking multiple measurements with a ruler, work from left to right instead of picking up and moving the tool every single time. Doing it this way heavily reduces compound errors. Oh, and just like the tape measure, make sure the edges are totally chip-free, the markings are actually legible, and that the ruler itself isn't warped or bent out of shape.
That brings us to Section 4, Digital Measuring and Calculating.
Say hello to the laser distance measure. You can basically think of this as a digital tape measure that uses a projected laser beam to take automatic readings. They are unbelievably powerful because they instantly calculate area and volume for you, making them absolutely ideal for longer distances. But, and listen, this is a massive but, their reliability depends entirely on proper maintenance. You absolutely must calibrate these devices regularly. Because they're digital, they're prone to internal malfunctions and something called electronic drift. In construction, your linear measurements generally need to be accurate to within 1 millimeter. So if you drop your laser, or if environmental factors knock the sensor out of alignment, well, that 1 millimeter tolerance goes out the window real fast. And honestly, so does your material budget.
And right alongside those fancy digital measuring tools is the humble digital calculator. Whether it's a dedicated calculator in your pouch or just an app on your phone or smartwatch, this is a tool you need handy at all times. Now, while it's not strictly taking the physical measurement, it is absolutely essential for calculating the quantities of materials you need and, most importantly, for double-checking the accuracy of your math before you go and make an expensive cut.
All right, let's get into Section 5, Tricks of the Trades. Okay, if you're training in carpentry, your pro tip is to utilize those laser distance measures to grab internal room dimensions for your wall setouts or when you're figuring out subfloor framing. It literally saves a ton of time. Now, for our bricklayers out there, grab a steel rule when you're checking the accuracy of your brick courses and rely on a sturdy tape measure when you're marking out wall lengths right on a slab. Basically, using the specific tool for the specific task just makes the whole job infinitely smoother.
Let's keep this going. For tiling, you're going to want to rely heavily on retractable steel tapes to accurately pinpoint the exact center of a room so you can lay out those tile patterns perfectly. If you're in solid plastering, those folding rules are absolutely brilliant for measuring window and door reveals for corner bead installations. And for all the painters listening, here's a really fantastic trick. Use measuring wheels. They quickly determine the total linear distance of skirting boards when you're pricing or planning out your trim painting. Such a game changer.
Look, no matter which trade you're entering, there are a few golden rules when it comes to the calculations that follow your measurements. Always show you're working. Always double-check all of your calculations for errors and pay incredibly close attention to the details. Actually, recording your workings means that if something does happen to go wrong, you can track exactly where the error occurred rather than having to tear your hair out starting from scratch.
So, as we wrap up today's explainer, I really want to leave you with a question pulled directly from your coursework. How are you tracking? Can you confidently look at a plan and mark length, width, and height? Do you know exactly which tool to pull from your belt for your specific trade? If you hesitated on any of those for even a second, I strongly urge you to review the questions at the end of Chapter 1 in your Genesis Student Guide. Go back, review those concepts, and practice until your accuracy is flawless. Because remember, out there in construction, your reputation is only as good as your last measurement. So, are you ready to hit the tools?